Harris Hardy and John Stone class on Go File Room. So we're going to start it off. Andrew, unfortunately, is not here, so you got to live with my voice today. So we're just going to start from the top and go through as quickly as we can. Again, if you have any questions out there from when you're sitting at your desktop, please feel free to just type in the chat and it'll pop up for me and we'll answer it. The first piece we have for Go File Room Lunch and Learn is the question, is it possible to have the system warn you when saving a document with the same name as one already in the client file or client folder? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. It's not something that's on their agenda. It is something that is a little bit annoying. However, there are ways to look at it to determine which is the newest document. If you pull up a document, and we'll just pull up anybody's here. I do believe my GoToMeeting is possibly slowing us down a hair. I'll go ahead and cover it as the screen hopefully comes up here in a second. There it is. If we go here to high purity solutions, I don't think we have two tax returns in here, but it serves the purpose for what I want to show you. When you pull up especially a tax return in Go File Room, you've got two pieces here. You have a document date here. If we go this way, we get the newest piece here. Now, you may have it happen where you've got your tax return was printed twice in one day. Therefore, it's not easy to tell the exact newest document. The best way to look at that is if you have two items is go down to your tax return, and here's a good example of narrowing your search. Do not hit your back button. The back button is going to start you all over and you'll have to re-enter everything. If you go back to the little zipper here on the side, that'll pop your search for documents bar back out, and then you can just change a specific criteria. And here we have our 2012 documents. Here we have the tax return, U.S. tax return. If we go in here and look at the tax return itself, UltraTax puts a date stamp on the tax return so that you can see exactly when it was created, down to the minute. So once we pull this up, I'll show you the spot on the tax return itself. Yes, Liz.
What would tip me off as to which return was actually filed?
If it is the exact same name where it says U.S. tax return, that most likely means that Michelle printed it.
I'm saying in the case where Michelle's printed all of them.
Yes.
And they were paper filed, perhaps. Why would I think one was filed versus another?
Okay, that is, if it gets down to that point where you're just really not sure which one was filed, the easiest way to do that, and it'll take a second for this to come up, but I want to show you real quick. Here is the date and the time stamp for the tax return. Now, if you have several of these, you can tell which one was printed last, but Liz's question is, how do you know which one was actually filed? The one place you've got to go if you've got that question is inside the tax program itself. We'll shrink this down and launch the tax program itself. We'll look at the 2013 tax program, and we'll just pull up a tax return from there. The key here is you can see in great detail exactly what happened with the tax return, who did it, and when they did it. Here you'll see when it was released for electronic filing, and I'm going to show you where that's at. But you'll need to go in and look at the history of the return. That will tell you it was electronically filed at such and such a time. The print to go file room when Michelle does it will be on the exact same time. So that will match you up with the document that was, created and done at that time. That's the best way to know for sure exactly what document. And while this comes up in the background, we'll go ahead and move on to our next question since GoToMeeting seems to go a little slow at the moment, slowing everything down. When you access GoFileRoom using practice, it does not appear to show all the files there. We're going to cover all the practice items in one big batch, so we don't jump around on that, but I want you to know that that's something we're going to address. When I print from UltraTax to GoFileRoom, it creates a new client with the same client ID, but it has a longer name. Yes, Mary Lou? Yes, Michelle.
I was saying, if you're modifying a return, why doesn't it put it under the last modified, so you have a date in there?
Because the original print, the only time you get a last modified piece is if it's been printed to GoFileRoom, and then I go back in and make changes to the GoFileRoom document. That's when it will put an entry in the last modified.
So if I do a letter and I go in and change the letter, then it's going to show last modified.
That's correct. That's correct. If I went into, here, we'll look at this billing invoice piece. We'll go into edit mode. And I will go in here and I will enter a sticky note. And the sticky note is simply going to say test, because we're going to come back in here and delete it. Now, I save it back to GoFileRoom, and I'm going to save and close the document real quickly. Now, when I go back into GoFileRoom, whenever you don't see something in GoFileRoom that you just did, a lot of times because you're looking at your previous search. If you go back in and just rerun your search again, now we can see that George Kroll modified this document on 8/14 at 12:09 and 36 seconds.
Does it find out if you extract pages? Let's say you have a tax return and do something and you extract pages and print them.
It's going to be if you save the document back to GoFileRoom. That's going to be the key there. That's what's going to key that in. Yes, Mary Lou.
I have a real question. Why don't you if you redo the return, why don't you just go into the GoFileRoom for the one that's already in there and say supersede it or something?
Well, the best option would be to actually delete that previous one because that having anything in the folder, and it's more of a legal thing, it would leave us open to discovery of that document. Yeah. And if it was some stupid mistake, then a lawyer gets a hold to it and they make up our own little fun story of that mistake and how horrible of a CPA you must be to have made that mistake in the first place. So the best option is to try to remove all superseded documents from the file. That is going to be a high-level piece with removing a superseded. Now, if it's a previous tax return, do your research first. Don't go willy-nilly. It may be best to check with Michelle and shoot her an email saying there's 2 tax returns in this area, and we can figure that out. I'm hoping to keep that to a minimum. Now, the second piece, I just need more work from Michelle. I don't know why she doesn't love doing more and more work.
Why it just doesn't write over the other tax returns?
Because it is a safety measure within there to make sure that it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't also include the safety measure, or not safety measure, but the nice notification that, hey, a document here already exists. Do you want to do it?
Difficult for them to program a notification.
Well, there's a large update coming before the end of the year that is going to be a rather large update. I don't know if that will be included in that update. So it may be. But yes, that is something that, I'm more than gladly discuss with them and request that at least a notification that there's a document with that name.
Otherwise, that could be a lot of cleaning up.
Well, the biggest problem I know that they have with it is they don't depend on the file name. You can save, that document name can be blank, and you still have your document there. It doesn't get lost. That's part of the issue that we run into. So here I've just changed this again. I save it back to Go File Room just so that I can get it out of there, get that what I changed out of there. And now when I go back to Go File Room and rerun, I clicked it right, rerun my search, now you can see that it's updated. It now says 12:12 and 55 seconds. Before it's 12:09. Now back to the original question is if we pull up a tax return, and there's actually two spots you can do this. I'll go up for the easier one first. If you go to Client Profiles, it's going to bring up a page on your home screen that's going to list all the clients that we have, and it actually, you can pull a lot of information from this. It's not an UltraTax CS class, so we're going to go straight to the point and not spend a lot of time with the extra areas. So we just go to a client, and we'll just choose this one, Andrews, Clyde, and Catherine. Click on the Details link. It has all these across the top. When you want to know everything that's happened with a return and when and who, Client Status History can be pulled up. You see exact dates, exact times, and what you're looking for is that the ELF file was created, selected for transmission, and transmitted. That's going to be very close to the date printed to GFR. Most likely it's going to be the same day or maybe the next, the most.
So that one was done. The second one was created, but the second one wasn't sent.
Yes, ELF selected for transmitted to here, and here's the acknowledgement. But as you can see here, it was printed to GFR by scanner, that's
After.
Michelle, at the same time that the ELF was created. And the key to look for is make sure that there is no ELF file deletion prior to the selected for transmission and transmittal.
Is it reverse date order?
No, this goes backwards dated.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So here's your ELF file deleted. That's because it was created down here by Tim. But it wasn't, Michelle is the final arbiter of all things. So when she created her file, it deleted Tim's. Now, if you print a tax return and you do a partial selection, it will save to Go File Room and it will say partial as part of the file name. You know at that point that that wasn't what Michelle printed to Go File Room. Somebody else accidentally printed that to Go File Room.
Should we just turn that off in UltraTax? I mean, nobody should be printing to Go
can't.
File Room, right?
I wish with all my heart that I had the ability to cut off that button to everybody but Michelle, but they have not added that security feature yet. Now, the key to this is try to remember to uncheck that box if you're not Michelle, and if you want to print a part of a return to Go File Room, use the print driver for Go File Room, which if you go to your print, under printer, there will be a print driver called Go File Room. When you use this print driver, it will ask you to index as part of that print job. If you wanted to print, say, some specific schedules out of the tax return separate, so you could always get to them, and so you wanted to get them to Go File Room, you would use this piece because it's going to be very difficult to use the checkbox. Yes. Now, on amended returns, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just get those scanned in on the back end because they are so specific, and it's a pain to print to Go File Room and then go rearrange all the pages. Also, it will print a complete copy to Go File Room. All amended returns will say amended in the file name. So when you amend the tax return, when it gets sent to the Go File Room by Michelle, it's going to say amended. So it won't be, there's no confusion to that piece.
So why you just don't have it down return so the rest of us don't have to work so hard?
There's no way, the big problem is with the Go File Room box being checked.
Mm-hmm.
When Michelle starts doing, like she's been doing nonprofit extensions,
Mm-hmm.
that box is checked. It's almost like it's a global.
Oh, you mean for Michelle? Yeah.
Well, I mean for anybody else pulling up a return. So you really have to, you might have had it unchecked and not been printing to Go File Room, but you almost have to look at that every time.
Well, no, because it's not a global, it's a user. It's whatever user is logged into that machine, it remembers. If I went and
time, but you can't like uncheck it and then go out without printing something.
that is true. That is true. If you unclick something and you just cancel out, it's not going to remember your settings from that. So it is something that we've got to be careful on. And like I said, I wish I could at least have a warning that automatically kicked it off and forced you to click it if you wanted to use it. I'll bring some of these ideas up because that would be a really good one. Our next question is, how are workflows originated for non-tax engagements? Everybody knows how they're kicked off from non-tax. Right now, we're in the process of developing some monthly checklists for procedures. One of those procedures is going to be not only rolling forward workflows that need to be rolled forward for that specific month, but logging in non-tax engagements at specified dates. So as an example, for an audit workflow needs to be kicked in about 4 months prior for Kim to see the engagement letter function to pop up on her screen. At that point, she prepares an engagement letter, she kicks it off to the next step. Now, what you're going to find is there will probably be a couple month lead time when you're getting that workflow on your workflows for that audit. Our goal is that you should be contacting the client, getting some preliminary QC work done, prior to year end to help squeeze down the time needed after year end. So that's going to be, and also these specialized engagements for, payrolls, these type of items. That's where that's going to be generated. Is there'll be a specific set of steps that are followed every month to get those kicked in. Now, I know one of the questions is usually, how do I get a workflow created? To get one created for either not necessarily a new client, but a client that needs a different service, you're going to want to email Michelle with what type of workflow you need her to create, and then she'll create it. Well, there may be some shuffling in that before long, but right now Michelle is our contact person for those. We're trying to get somebody in who can help with that part a lot, so hopefully so. Here I'm having trouble saving spreadsheets, documents, and PDFs when open from GFR. This one boils down to a lot of misunderstanding as far as how the Go File Room piece works, and always going to the Go File Room tab in order to access a document. On high purity here, let me see if I've got some spreadsheets for them. I've got another client that will be able to access those a lot better. Read. Save some for me down there. Throw me some on a plate. I'm not going to be able to eat much of it, but all right. Now, for a spreadsheet that you open from Go File Room, you're going to do your search to find the document. You'll click and go to Edit Document. You always want to try to edit a document most times, just simply because if you open it up in the first piece and you need to do something with it, then you're going to have to click it into edit mode in order to make it work. You're my caveman. Okay, my spreadsheet's open down here. Now, it's open to the Go File Room tab. If I want to, after I've opened up a document, I'm on my Go File Room tab. Now I want to save it. Whether you're saving it in progress or you're, wanting to exit the document, click on the Save to Go File Room. It's always going to pop up this box right here where you have your choices to save and keep working, save locally and keep working. That's going to pull the file out of Go File Room. Or to save the Go File Room, and close it. We're going to just save and keep working. Now, when you're finished with your spreadsheet and you're not thinking about it, you go click the X button. It's always going to bring up the closed document piece. So you're not going to be able to get out of Excel or Word without it at least asking you this question, even if you haven't made any changes. So you have your choices: save Go File Room, save changes locally, or ignore changes. I'm going to ignore changes because we didn't do anything to it.
Is there an autosave feature in this while you're looking here?
It has the local document. Excel has this autosave feature because it actually pulls it down to a folder. And if it crashed out and you open back up Excel, it's still down there locally, hanging out. It's going to recognize it just like as if it was on your F drive and it bombed out.
Say that again. Opening it through here.
Yes, opening it through here, it saves it locally temporarily. When you finish, it automatically saves it and loads it back up to Go File Room. If you have a crash in the middle, it should still recognize it as if you had opened it from anywhere else locally, on your C drive, F drive, or whatever, and say, hey, you have a file that was closed improperly, and you walk through the same process Excel always does with that. And then it'll still be connected. Go File Room will still see it. So when you finish, you click your Go File Room, save the Go File Room, and you're still good. Dodie had, I think, 1 or 2 issues with that, but the loss of the file, she did a couple other steps that kind of wiped out the ability for Excel to see that temporary file, and that's where it got lost. And it was just something that she didn't have knowledge of that she did to make Excel lose track of it. In Word, it works the exact same way, where you have a Go File Room tab. On your machines, this is going to work a little quicker. Go to Meeting, slow down everything. Here you can see, got my table of contents. I still have the Save to Go File Room. You can email it from here with a insert a link, which is simply copying a link for a document. Those aren't the big things to worry about. It's the Save to Go File Room. Once I'm done, again, it asks me to Save to Go File Room, save changes locally, ignore. Leaving it Save to Go File Room, it didn't take any longer to close than it did to ignore changes. So it's a quick Save to Go File Room. Yes, Jane?
Related question here. Documents, work papers that came over from file cabinet.
Yes.
Can we extract and edit those?
Yeah, they're all PDFs. If they're in here, it doesn't matter how they were stored in file cabinet.
So you can search them?
Yes. Yes. Now, we're going to have some documents that came from file cabinet that were dirty. Not a very good scan. As a result, the OCR recognition is going to be poor on those documents. It's much better on anything that was stored as a PDF in file cabinet or has been scanned directly to here.
It's one PDF.
That's okay.
It's inside a PDF.
Inside a PDF, if I wanted to, let's look at this this PDF right here. I know it has, let's look for a word that's not in the name. I know in this document this is a PDF of a t-value a document, and so I know it has the word principal in it. So if I look on here and text, principal, search. It's going to take a little bit longer because it's actually searching through all of my documents on the right internally. It's not just searching file names.
So if you pulled up the 2010 work papers for tax return, and we were looking for a specific K1, you could put in the name of the K1, so you could, for example, put in Talco.
Yes. Now it's going to actually pull up the document in total, not the individual page, but it'll find that document for you in the search.
So it's not that you can open up the document and then search within the document.
No, that you can do. You can do, but that's an Adobe function. Once you know which document you have, if you go into, and I'm trying to, no, I've got the documents up that I want. I'm trying to see if I had anything that was a scanned.
I mean, I've done that with current things, and I use Adobe and go under Tools to extract pages, find
Yes.
what I need, that kind of thing.
You
But what comes over from File Cabinet, that doesn't seem to be, either I don't have the knack of it.
Well, and that one is because a lot of those documents may have been printed to File Cabinet in their File Cabinet format, or if they were scanned to File Cabinet, you're going to have a lot more difficult time searching those because of the scan quality. Now, if they were scanned to PDF and pulled in the File Cabinet, it'll be much better.
That wouldn't be what I would be.
I know. Unfortunately, there's a lot of and what we probably need to do on those is see if there's something we can do to improve those. So if as you run across ones that are really bad, shoot me an email, and I'll see if I can get it a little more robust. Oh, I understand. Now, going forward, because of the way we scan now, it'll be much better finding those. But, yeah, there is an issue there. Here we are. Okay. Now, a lot of people have some questions on, especially in Excel, how to open Excel properly to deal with it out of Go File Room so that you can, A, be able to copy formulas between spreadsheets, because it'll maintain the links that exist in a spreadsheet. But if you don't open these spreadsheets in the proper way, if you copy a formula, you're going to get garbage when you paste it. But if you open it properly, then you have no problem at all. And here's, like I said, this is my best one. It's got Excel documents and everything. If you want to be able to copy cells between Excel documents, first thing you want to do is open up your first Excel spreadsheet. In edit mode. Once you have that up, you're going to want to go to here to open up your next Excel document. And it's going to open up the search for documents piece. So okay, now we want to open up our second one. As you can see, it's indicating right here that this is the one we have open. If it's in edit mode, you will see the little pen going back and forth. I know I got smart, you know what's all over the place here. You click on it, go there, and edit document.
I get that all the time too.
Let's try that one more time.
It seems like you've got Go File Room open like 3 times. Is that, it's just, do you only have it open once and you're just go back and forth?
Yeah, it just automatically pulls up this. See if we can get this to go correctly here. Well, there's different functions. That one, once you've typed in the password for that function, it does it. I would like it to keep single sign-on, but unfortunately it doesn't at the moment. Okay, here's our other spreadsheet. As you can see, it's both documents are in here. So if I go to View and Arrange All, Tile, they're within the same Excel session. So in that point, I can copy. You can always copy numbers, but copying formulas won't work unless you have them open like this. Now, if you just want to look at two Excel documents and you want to be able to throw them in a separate monitor, let me go ahead and close. No, we got 3. How many you want? That's because y'all haven't asked for 3 yet.
Bigger office, we need a bigger office.
Okay, after you've opened up the first document, you can go to your next Excel spreadsheet in your list, and you go to Edit. And it pulls that document down. Now we have this one here and that one there. As you can see, there are 2 separate sessions of Excel. So that you can pull them over, and like I said, you can copy numbers from one to the other. You just can't copy formulas this way, because what it's trying to do when you copy a formula, it's going to reach all the way back into Go File Room and try to link through Go File Room to that other spreadsheet. Well, ask it, Mary Lou.
Well, why don't you just do it in Excel?
Huh? Because the document's stored in Go File Room.
You couldn't save it to Excel?
It's in Excel.
You said it was in Go File.
You mean that, you couldn't say it to that.
The Excel document is stored in Go File Room. You're opening it with Excel.
Oh, but I mean, you couldn't take it outside of Go File Room in another Excel. You couldn't copy that. Could you copy that and throw it into Excel? You open Excel separately.
You can export the document out, but then you're going to have to re-save it to Go File Room all over again.
Okay.
And it's not going to overwrite what you had previously.
But then, why would you want to be monkeying around in Go File Room? Isn't that your document?
Because no, that is going to be our document management system.
So we're going to be
All
working in there now?
all documents are going to, over a period of time, need to move there, because you can say that, but you're looking at, on an individual basis, you may say, well, I can find it faster on the F drive. The problem we run into is not that. The problem is, if someone else needs to do that, they don't know that document's there, so they recreate from scratch. Here, client documents are in one spot. So if you're looking for a nice work paper that was created for a client, it's here. You don't have to worry about, well, who was the last person who worked on that, and search the F drive trying to find some piece of document. It takes a little bit of practice and getting used to, but I fly through here faster than I can fly through the F drive.
Yeah, but this is only for outside stuff, not for tax. Tax will always be tax. We'll always do tax.
Well, that's because, yeah, you don't, the tax return file can't be stored in Go File Room.
Okay.
A little secret is, within 5 years, the whole thing is going to be on the web. All of CS products will be web-based. There will be no longer have a local storage. That is their entire goal.
There won't even be a Go File.
No, there'll be a Go File Room because it's already web-based.
It'll just be a forum.
It'll just, you will access, and they will all be interconnected out behind the scenes. Now, we're building a template library. There are some people here who have very sensitive templates. Kim and Jane each being one of those people that create very nice templates, that need to be guarded. That's going to create, that's why there's 2 spots for those special type of templates that cannot be messed with. One is a My Files drawer. That would be where you store your true templates, the ones that cannot be touched by anybody but you. Then a copy of those would be stored at the firm library. That way, if somebody messes up something in the firm library, it can be returned back to its natural habitat by copying the good one back into the firm library and remove bad one. We do need protection on that because there's lots of letters that Jane has created, and with the engagement letters, templates and all that, I don't want anybody touching those except for the people that work on them, on the originals, just because that wreaks havoc throughout the entire firm. So as we build that library, those who have special files are going to have their own special place to put them that no one else can touch from there. Everybody here has a My Files place that and that nobody else can get to. If I was to do a search,
Not even you? You can't get there?
I can't. Admin could get there, so I wouldn't be necessarily storing everything in there, but it's very hard for them to get. They have to actively try to get there.
Can you look and see what's in her drawer? You know, if I.
No, if it's stored in her My Files drawer, I knew we got the trouble right in front of the class. No.
No, but that your original premise is that so you don't have to recreate something.
No. That's why a copy of those would be stored in the library that everybody can access to. It's to safeguard those ones that.
Some of those letters, you know, it's not that they're so sensitive per se, it's that you have to understand there's a code section.
No, that's specifically why I want the 2 spots.
You got to make sure you've got the same circumstance for the code section.
Yeah. As you can see here, because I'm the one that's logged in, when I look at My Files, the only person I see is me. I can't see anybody else's. Under library, there's different sections that we have set up. Right now, if you go to assurance and templates, I've got some templates out here. I've got some quality control indexes. And this is where I would like to save. If you have a great worksheet that is for some function that you think everybody can benefit from, I would love those loaded up here to this library under the proper, section, which could be, it might be under tax. You drop it down, there's a template section. Under
That's where I get confused is all the, like I've got Eric gave me a personal use of company car calculation Excel spreadsheet. It's really nice. Now, where would I put that in there for people to use?
you would go and load it up to the library under tax, templates,
Okay.
and the document type would be work paper.
Okay.
And then you would just give it a name, and you're done. It uploads it to there, and then you would see it there. And that way, everybody has use to it. And you could send out a link. You could, once you get it uploaded, you could, if you want to know everybody, let everybody know it was there. Email document using Outlook. Choose link, and that'll stick that little thing saying that there's a document for you, and you just email it out to HHJ. And that way, they at least know you've done your duty. You've notified everybody. It's up to them to remember. But that's why I want to build this nicely so that it has a lot of content, a lot of good stuff to use. Not a problem. Flip back over here too.
Created outside of your workbooks, like a workbook a year for a client, and they're linked. So any way to pull them in there where they're still going to be linked.
Now, when you say linked,
So yes, numbers from one year rolling into the next year's.
yes. Go File Room maintains all links.
It's created outside.
Soon as when you save it up to Go File Room, now the only thing you're going to have to make sure of is that when you upload it, you're keeping the document name the same, because Excel, if you change the name of the old document on the F drive, it will lose that link. So, but it's when it saves it up, it recognizes the links and maps them and does all that stuff.
So you should open them both at the same time and then save them to go file room.
It is my understanding that that won't be necessary as long as both of them get there. I haven't had a chance to test that theory yet. If someone tests it and find out different, please let me know. If you test it and find out it is as advertised. Now, well, no, just you test 2 documents in there and just open one up and check your links, and if it's working, then we're safe. And because I know that Dodie has some documents that she has stored there that are linked up that maintain their links throughout. Now, everybody, I know that this is one thing I did not get a chance to cover in the last class. Since this one's being recorded, this is a nice place to pick up. This CPE drawer. You have 1 or 2 options on this one, which is either A, you can scan it and put it there yourself, or you can barcode it, which we'll discuss shortly, and have it scanned in. Everybody has a drawer on here. Right now, because I'm doing a search, you're only seeing 2 people because only 2 people have stored documents here. If I was to go to the add screen and do the CPE drawer, then we would see everybody. So everybody has a drawer here, and we'll go back to search so you can see on mine. There's George, document type, certificate, credit category. I'm not going to choose one at the moment. Description is what you give it. I usually give it the name of the class, is what I do. CPE credits earned. You can put in there how many CPE credits you earned for it, and then you choose a document date, and we'll search and see what I have out there. I have my CPE certificates. A lot of them are delivered electronically now, so that you can just shoot them in there directly from an email, or print the email to PDF, or print the email to go file room. As you can see here, CPE credits earned, I've keyed that in, and to take a quick look at one. Here's my CPE certificate. It's ugly, but it works. That's a nice place to have storage. I really would like everybody to use it, simply because when it comes time for peer review, that's part of the thing that Brian has to get together, and it's the biggest nightmare Michelle has, is getting that together for him.
Can you print a report of this?
You can print this screen. You can print this screen. Under options, you can actually export list to the Excel spreadsheet, sort it any way, which way you want, and what you can do is you change the under the preferences which columns appear in your sort, so that you get only what you want in the Excel spreadsheet, and then you can get this out for everybody all at once. I think there actually is. I think there actually is. This is because I chose the service type. I'm in this. I know it's here. I've just got to find it. I prepared that piece for her. But anyway, yeah, that'll make Michelle's life a lot easier. Especially, it'll make your life a lot easier too if you ever get the luck of being chosen for an audit by what is it? Department of Board of Accounts. Yeah. Then. Yeah, feel free. Feel free to get as much in there as you can. Like I said,
Put a year in there?
I'm thinking about adding that feature. It's not in there now. Yeah, that's where we have the difficulty right now with adding the back stuff. I'm going to go ahead and add the year line there. We'll have it. I've added it to a couple other drawers, and so I've just got to, I have to have them do it. I can't do it. Andrew can't do it. It has to be done on the back end. So I will add I'll add a year for the CPE drawer so that we'll have that, because that is a excellent way to do it, because it will get confused. You guys, you saw how I saved the Adobe documents. Now the one you'll notice is if you have Adobe 11 that has the stuff on the right hand side under tools, there will be a Go File Room piece you click on, and it has the exact same icons as were showing up underneath Adobe before. If anybody wants me to show the Adobe save again, I can. Are we good on that? Okay. All right. Out. Go back away. All right. Our next question here, I think we're getting ready to head into the barcodes here in just a second. Here's one, a quality piece. When I print a color formatted spreadsheet directly to GFR, it looks ugly. Well, guess what? It's going to stay looking ugly if you print directly to GFR. GFR print driver automatically downsizes and decolors what you print directly to it. For tax returns and things like that, you'll never notice the difference. But for color documents, you will, because that black and white transformation is never as good a quality as you would like. The best way to do that is to simply save it to a PDF and then load the PDF up to keep the color. That's only if you need a static version of that spreadsheet. I have a lot of documents to where I use a spreadsheet to create the document, but in order to save the month-end numbers, because I don't want to create another spreadsheet for every month end, I'll go ahead and send it to PDF and store the actual final document that way. But if you print to GFR, it's going to strip all colors out.
I did a letter, and there were documents, and I did a barcode. It was scanned in. But our letterhead is real swift in both hours.
You have the old letterhead with that.
But yeah, I mean, part of that scan is, well, now, the one thing you want to do is on letters, and Jason, you're in here, and you can relay this to Thomas. If you've got letterhead in there, if you'll write on the barcode, you want to just use quality. He can scan it at a higher resolution, and that way it'll go into Go File Room as a cleaner document. Because right now he's got default settings that are designed for SurePrep and things like that. They're not designed to make the letterhead look as good as possible. So if you've got some high quality documents that you want stored at that quality, just put quality on there, and Jason and Thomas will now know to scan it at a little higher resolution. Why is it so hard to print CSA reports to GFR? Because engagement sucks. That's why. And their functionality with Go File Room is just not great. As I told the last group, if your engagement is paper, print your reports to paper, slap a barcode on the front of it, and the whole thing will get scanned as one piece in the Go File Room. I have not found an easier way because of two reasons. One, the biggest reason is these reports are, any setting I set is global, truly global across all clients. All clients. So because of the difference in the client name, it creates an issue sent into the Go File Room. One piece I'll talk about in tax I didn't quite grab yet, which is when you get, we got sidetracked off of it. When tax returns get printed to UltraTax and they're in a different place. But those reports simply just, if you set up a client name in there, you have to set it up as text. Well, guess what? Every client you go into, if you try to print the reports, it's going to try to go to that client name, not the client name you're in. So you can't default enough stuff in there to make it useful. When we originally got it, I thought we could, it was a client-based piece. I am looking at a couple little things that are engagement replacements. They're by Creative Solutions. One is one that sits on top of Go File Room, and all your documents that you do or anything in there is automatically in Go File Room because it's the same spot. They're together. And its report function, when you print a report, it actually stores it right there in the engagement and therefore in Go File Room. Engagement, they stopped working on it over 5 years ago. It's going bye-bye within 3.
Still the same group, right?
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm not looking at changing companies. It's just, in both of these products, all of the stuff is essentially the same. The two products, one's called Advanced Flow, another piece that's a local storage piece is Workpaper CS. Both of those, the engagement works the same way. It's folder structure. Everything is just like engagement. The only thing it's done is improved a better way to group tax codes or group accounts under one tax code, and it's easier to change an account number. Massively easier. It also has greater functionality as far as this one piece I'm looking at. You can actually take the trial balances off, move it to another monitor, and have it over there while you're doing different things on the rest of the engagement piece. So it has a lot of functionality to that is better without being so massively different. Like when we moved to, when we started using SurePrep, that was something completely new. This type of movement is exact same product, just all the enhancements that should have been there for the last 5 years. Because CSA engagement is also going away within about 3 years. They no longer do anything to it, as you well know, that it hasn't changed in quite a long time. Now, tax returns. We had a question of why is a tax return in a different spot than the rest of the documents? When I just printed it to Go File Room, and when I look at it, there's 2 client names, same client ID. That is because when you print from tax, it uses the tax name to store the document temporarily and not the practice sort name, because the practice sort name is what populates Go File Room. That document will be in a different spot until that night. Overnight, they'd go do a re-index, and they move all documents to the proper place. So the next morning, you will find your tax return right where it's supposed to be. But right after Michelle prints it until that night, it's not there. It exists, and if you look at the client number, you will see both client names, and you can click on the longer one and access that tax return until the next day when it's cleared up. That's the big piece in that. The final question, I'll move us into barcodes and then the area on practice is there a way that I can look for client documents in one place? That follow-up is practice. Quit laughing at me. Now, barcodes. Are you? Oh, Tim taking a nap on me. All right. Barcodes really are the same method of adding a document to Go File Room from within Go File Room. You go up to the Add Documents. You choose your drawer. I'm going to go back to Clients. Hey, Lou.
Say anything.
I know, that's what my wife says when she gives me a look. The need words. You fill out your index here. Once you fill out all your index items, you click on barcode. When you click on barcode, it's going to create a sheet with all that information in there, and it's going to have a little barcode on it. You slap that on the top of the documents that you want. I should have known. Frank's going there.
Kick him off.
I like that. Private. Not so private. Stay out of Mary. Yes, we'll skip that little part. Not a chance. Yes, those won't go on YouTube.
Come on, you two.
Famous last words.
Oops, forgot. Okay. I just told Frank. All right, for the barcoding, the difference between putting a file in directly and using the barcode is simply you fill out here, you click barcode, it gives you the sheet, you print it, slap it on the front, you hand it to Jason, he scans it in. They're pretty quick on it. You're usually going to have it by the next day. The other option is, I'm going to come to you, Tom, is browse, and that's where you just load the file up through the directly from a location on the server, your C drive, or wherever. Tom.
There's actually an additional step. When you push on the barcode, it'll give you a little dialog with the number, and you click OK, and you lose all your information in the index. And then you hit barcode again a second to get the call index. And it'll bring it back, hit barcode the second time, then you get the thing that you can print. So it actually does it in 2 steps.
Yeah, you've got.
Once.
You must have something going, Tom.
I
Shoot.
got last year's version then.
I think Frank messaged you back.
I'm ignoring him. So you get to here, you choose your printer, and you print it. Yes.
Once you print it, you have other options there. I mean, I don't know that everyone thinks if they're scanning in a brokerage statement that you need to tell them that there's duplex pages.
Yes. As a matter of fact, what I do is I simply put a mark here in the duplex page spot just to let the scanners know that there are duplex pages. Most of the time, they are going to scan on duplex anyway because the software recognizes blank pages and pulls them out. Also, they wanted me to mention on here is the return to. If you want it returned to you to check before you do anything with it, put your initials in the return to. That way they know exactly who to bring it to if there's a whole stack. And Jason, was there anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, actually, I would always like to see something in the return to section. If you want to put in the file, just write file.
Okay.
Return to, because some people do want to put in the folders. So something should always be checked on either shred or return to, so we know what to do with it.
Yeah. I personally, who is Mr. Paperless, I have it returned to me and I verify it each time because that's the key there. If you're going to be paperless, you need to make sure that what you stored is there. So I go in and I check the number of pages and make sure it matches what the number of pages scanned in. If you want an extra verification for the scanners, you can write the number of pages on there yourself and they can verify that that's exactly how many got scanned in. Just remember that if it's a duplex page, it's 2 when you do count.
One last question on that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the multi-mode?
The multi-mode, we don't need that. That's if you're going to be doing like a bunch of barcodes at once, but they wouldn't. He told us just to get past that because I don't think I think the functionality of it is not what we would want it to be, and it would cause us more confusion because when we got our training overall, they ignored that multi-mode button. And so I've ignored it also on there. Now, like I said, once you print the barcode, you get it scanned in, it'll get scanned in. If you create a barcode that you didn't mean to create, shoot an email to Jason or Thomas or both. There is an HHJ scanners group out there on the on Outlook to let them know because they can go in and they need to go in and delete that barcode because until it's scanned, it stays out there as if it still exists. And you'll see it whenever you go into something. You'll see, one barcode I forgot what they call it, outstanding or whatever. You see it a lot more than I do, Jace. But it basically indicates whether there's a barcode that has been created but not yet scanned. Now, as part of, let's see where it's running through here. Now we're ready to move on to the practice session. In practice, there's 2 spots that you will deal with being able to centralize some document searches. On the staff dashboard, or you can even set up tabs that will do clients, but it won't automatically fill in the client information for you. That's looking for my Go file room. This is a laptop that I don't work on, so that's why it's doing all this stuff to me. In practice?
Or every time you switch to a different, like tax or practice, or you have to.
Because practice, once you store it, if you click that remember my information, as soon as you open practice, it logs you in through the practice.
Log in failure.
Are you doing this Go file room from practice? Is that what you're telling people? Anybody who's got 8.1 operating, don't bother listening.
Yeah, we're in the process of trying to figure out how best to resolve that. But if you got moved to, it's 8.1, but it's specifically Internet Explorer 11.
Mine works.
That is the issue. Well, sometimes some people it will work, but you may have IE10. I've got IE10.
So,
If you go to About and Help, it will tell you what Internet Explorer version you have. Here we're on Windows 7, so the most we have is probably 10. We don't have our little toolbar there, but if you go to Help and About, it'll tell you what version you have. Now in practice, here you can see this says GFR documents, and I'm going to show you how to set one of these up. But under Options, I've just said that the author is me as text, because there's the way our practice is set up and the way that Go File Room is set up, it's easier just to type your name there, last name first, first name last, to connect it. This has all my stuff in here. If I just wanted to see a document type of other, I would go in here and I could change this, and it would change my screen to just show other. This is going to boil back to, and I'll set up a new tab here in just a second. As you can see here, I've got a GFR CPE tab. This is mapped specifically to my CPE drawer. So as soon as I get into practice, that'll come, I can look here. This file transfer is something that we'll learn later on when we learn portals next Thursday as part of the practice. Here I've got my the firm library where I've stored, as you can see here, under the tax and publications, I have uploaded all the Kipling letters so that if you want access to them, you can go here and grab them. I didn't want to have to store them on my computer to access them later on, so I figured if I'm going to load them up to Go File Room, might as well make them access for everybody. I've just got to show Michelle how to do this directly, and he'll just mail out a link on future ones. Now, to create a customized tab, yes, Angela.
So you've done it once, everybody can have access to it, or we have to do it?
No. If you want, yeah, no, everybody has access to it.
Okay.
I've done it once. That's why I was going to put it up there anyway. All right, to create.
So I think you should know since they come to him.
Nah, you love it too much, Michelle. All right, to add a new tab, you can go up to Add View, and you name it. So this is just going to go GFR class. That creates your tab. Then you want to select your portlet. And this same function works the same in the client side, so we won't be repeating this on the client side. Here we go down to Go File Room Documents. I'm going to show you the Go File Room MyFlow in just a second. You choose to Go File Room Documents. Now, it's going to start off blank, or actually it'll pop up the options dialog box first. To address the part of why can't I see enough documents, all the documents, number of results. I always max mine out to 150. Now, you are still going to have clients that won't meet that max. So if you try to display all their documents, you're not going to get all of their documents. You filter down from there. The first thing you're going to want to do is, under client name, you're going to want to change it to Practice CS Field, and you want to change it to,
You have to be in the client dashboard.
no, it should do it right here because I'm up under the client's drawer, but it may be because I'm, yeah, I will have to show you this over there. So let's move that over there. But this is how you can set up for yours. Options, and this is pulls your stuff in. So you can go here, practice CS field, current login staff ID so that it picks up you. This is a client drawer, so it's not going to pick up anything. So normally on this one, you're going to be under the My Files or the library. And let's just throw one together here, current login staff. And we're not going to do any kind of filtering on it. I just want to grab everything that's associated with me and My Files. And of course, it's not going to work. That's why I was saying that on the other one I use text because I don't think that this has the proper piece to it. So in here, if I change this to Kroll George, there it is. And if you want to know what yours is set up like, if you go into Go File Room, you go to My Files, and you just do a blank pull up, you will see what your name is and how it's formatted. Most everybody is just last name first. But for those of you who have shorter and longer names, check here because, like for Tom, I'm not sure if it's in, it might be in as Thomas Saunders instead of Tom. Mary Lou, I think yours is in as Mary Lou, but I could be wrong on that. So, you know, just double check that. Now we'll go to the client piece. I can show you the actual drawer side. If we go to the client dashboard, here you can see I've got a ton of documents in here that, you know, cluttering everything up. You have a couple options. You can drag and drop these up here in this gray area.
So like by year.
You can drag any of the column headers up there. And here, so I can see in my tax return if I wanted to do that. Now, if I was to do a second one, it creates a second layer. And you can kind of use that to access everything pretty quickly, faster than having to right-click and go to options. However, if you've got a huge client with more than 150 documents, you may want to limit that choice to a specific, whatever, year, file section. Here I'll go to 1120S.
Do you know if you can put a range?
No, that's one thing I'm going to try to ask for them to add to it, because I was looking for a range specifically related to the fact that on my GFR tax return tab, as you can see is blank. I've abandoned this tab. I just haven't deleted it yet, because under options, you can only choose one type at a time. You can't get multiple yet. So I'm hoping that's going to be something in their upgrade where you can choose multiple tax return types. So this works well. This is why I have multiple tabs, so that I can create, so I can go straight through and it's already pre-filtered. Oops. Okay. Select our portlet, go file documents. As you can see, when you're on the client dashboard, there's no My Flow choice there. It'll pop me up here. We want to change it to practice CS field and client sort. The sort is how it's saved over there. So client sort and client ID. Once you have that in there and you click OK, whatever client you're on, if I change clients, it will load up new documents related to that client or any filter criteria I set up. This is a real place that if you're looking back and forth at documents, it is faster here than in Go File Room because you don't have to, it's easier here to set your sorts and have a different tab for things so you can have just the documents you want on the specific tab.
Similar to file cabinet structure, you can, so it's easier to find documents.
Yeah, you can go through and,
As long as you don't have 8.1.
as long as you don't have 8.1, your issue is going to be, I think there's going to be a way we might be able to work around it, but I'm not sure. Lance has got to test a couple ideas. But in 8.1, what happens is if I go out here and I want to look at one of these documents, I go out here, I click on it, and it pops up, and it pops up in the non-edit mode. Some of you may find that it actually pops up in the edit mode because of certain settings in your browser that tell it to go straight to that. In 8.1, your screen flashes up like this and then disappears. And you're not going to find it anywhere. It's not going to be something, if you hit Control-Alt-Delete, Alt-Tab, it doesn't matter. It just closes it down. It's not that you can't see it or anything else. It closes it down. It's a known error, a known problem. They're working on it. Their main goal is to have their release in November work with it. So we're trying to find some alternatives to get around that. We're trying to look at if we can downgrade to IE10 or some other ideas to see what we can do. As you can see, it has the edit button right here. The one thing I want to show you that's the aggravation. You click your little button here or you close out at the top. You get this. You tell it yes. I'm going to get a little pop-up that says, thank you for using Go File Room. And it's going to, every time I do it, it does it. This is the one time it's not going to.
If it closes me out.
Let's see if it'll give me my, there we go. Thank you for using Go File Room. Now, what's going to happen when you go back in and look at your next document? No edit button. It has logged you out of Go File Room. It hasn't logged you out of being able to access these through practice. It's just blown your ability to go to edit mode afterwards. I'm almost thinking about having Lance go around and change it so that instead of opening in the non-edit mode out of practice, it just goes straight to full edit mode. That will get around that issue. So that's something I'm going to be looking at. But do know that if your edit button's missing, it's because you've been logged out of Go File Room. If we go back to Go File Room and I look at it and I try to do something, of course it's going to work this time. I tell you.
It usually throws you out there.
Yes. Yeah, it gives you the session expired.
Right.
Enough of you have seen it that you know it happens. It does, have on a rare occasion, actually not happen.
Out of the 150 documents, does it keep the 150 most?
I haven't figured out its rhyme or reason on the 150 documents. I have not done a lot of research to figure out if that's the case. I've decided that it's a lot easier for me just to flip one extra search option and get just the documents I want to see, because there are so few clients with that 150 excess. And most likely, you're going to, if you've got 150 documents on the screen, that's a whole lot to scroll through.
Yeah, I don't think that, I'm not sure that's the issue.
No, it is. It is.
It is, you're sure?
Mm-hmm. Because on this one, let's go and set my options out because I know I've got a lot of overall documents. Oh, let's see. I know I've got more than 25. And you can pull these back down. Period after year. File section. Okay. As you can see, I got a ton of documents. If I go in here to options and I change this to, say, 25, I now have much fewer documents. But as you can see, there's a 2012 here, 2014, 2013, 2011, 2009. Yeah.
Almost taking how many you have based on the file section.
I have yet to even.
I'm going to take the file section that you have listed first, and then take the number of documents.
I honestly don't know.
I think if you sort by year first, and then you go into the client, it's going to give you the most current ones.
Well, you can sort by date.
It's like document date.
That's what he's saying.
Is that what it is?
Oh, the document date.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if you go out of the client and go back, see where they give you the oldest ones first.
Based on the document date.
Okay. Go Banco or integrated chemical. Go back to.
Yeah, so it's giving you older stuff.
And it may go by document date, and the issue is that we have a ton, about 143,000 documents with a document date right about February 12th, because that's when they did the conversion through, and they were pulling in the file cabinet converted documents.
Have all those been converted over?
There are some that have not because they were inactive clients. There's occasional ones that I find that I don't see. File cabinet.
Speaking, they shall be, and we shouldn't have to go into.
If you do not find it and you know it should be in there, you need to let me know because we can get it in there. File cabinet still exists. It has not been deleted. It is accessible by everybody. It's still out there. If you click on your file cabinet button, you will get file cabinet. But we need to find those documents that aren't, because eventually we won't. And if we don't get them converted, then, you know, I found it more in the permanent file area where I've located a couple. And it could also be that where you think they should be, that piece was the least successfully implemented thing. The conversion was the file section.
I imagine that would be with a lot of the states.
You may well find it. That's just in a different file section. To correct something, because I've got about 10 minutes left before I wrap this up. Also, one thing I wanted to show you on the search. Now, actually, let me show you on practice. On your staff dashboard, you can set up a My Flows. This shows you your My Workflows. So it's always there. It's going to, you know, once you've done your login, it should, because this launches within itself. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. It launches the full version. This should still work because it's not trying to launch an Adobe document.
Right.
It's actually doing the actual workflow. If you go in and do just like I talked about before with the other ones, under Select Portlets, after you've added the view,
Oh,
the Go File Room, Firm Flow, My Work.
thank you. Yeah, it really is. It really is nice. I mean, that really is a nice feature.
Yeah.
Well, to get
And
it-
I'm expecting some more and more improvements with the integration over the next 6 to 12 months. Here, if you're in a workflow and you're on the document tab, because a lot of times that's where you're looking at anyway. You're working from a workflow. On the document tab, you can search directly from here. You can change any of this criteria. It does not have to match what the workflow is. So I can change every piece of this, click search, and it'll change it.
Can you open a document and show me how to email from there a single page out of that document?
I think, yeah, or even a return. I think everybody should learn how to do a return.
I know how to send a return.
Return you can send in full. Now,
I wanna
To send a
learn
single-
page out of that document.
to send a single page,
I've only been able to print it to, I can print a single page to my desktop and then attach it that way. but-
Probably the quickest way you're going to do it, because there's no specific way to tell Adobe I want just a single page to email in just a single step. If you were this is on the right hand side over here, if it says pages on Adobe 11, but if you go document and you want to extract a page, and we'll extract page 1 of 1.
See, now I just printed to an
That's what I do
Yeah.
too. But,
This-
but I wanted to email it directly from here without having to go through that extra step.
Now, as soon as you've extracted, if you go to File and Attach to Email,
All you have to do is just extract. Okay.
it's the same thing. There's Word doesn't do it. Excel won't do it unless it's a single page in the whole piece.
Well, no, that works, and then I don't have to, that's not saving it anywhere.
You just try
Yeah.
to send one page.
I just want to find what I need and send that.
And
Send a few
it's
pages together.
there it goes. Boom. Pages from,
Okay.
and it'll say pages from the file name. Just happens to be that's what's
Extract
on
is the way to do it.
Yep.
And then attach the email.
And then under File, Attach to, or yeah, Send as attachment, I believe is what it, oh no, attach to email. 11, it may say something slightly different than that, but it'll refer to email in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes they change the verbiage. It does? Okay. I just don't often do it straight out of Adobe, so I'm not as familiar with their wording. Now, for barcodes, if you're on your workflow, you can create a barcode straight from there. And all you have to do is go up to here, barcode. Now, the key here is don't fill out all this. All you want to do is click in the document type that you want and put in the description. Once you put in the description, you tell it to print. Don't worry about the generate. The generate generates one and saves it to print later. You just go straight to print. It's already got the year, everything else. Yeah. Yeah, so Sherry's ahead of the game. So it's got all there, so, and it's going to go exactly where you told it to, and you'll see it there once it gets scanned in. So we'll come out of there. Now, the second piece that I want to cover real quick has to do with if you get a file that's in the wrong spot. How do you get it to the right spot? If you click on it, well, you can email Michelle, but if you happen to be in there yourself, here's another way to do it if you know exactly what you've got to do. Once you, it's thinking. There you go. If you put a check mark beside it, now it's going to be, I'm going to show you the two ways. One is if you're on this document tab. You right click, you tell it you need to re-index a document. It gives you drop downs and you can type it in there. After you're done, you have to right click and save re-index. That will save it. If you just click off of it, it's going to go, hey, you're re-indexing a document, please complete or cancel. So you just go back in here and you can either cancel or save. Now, if you are in a client's search, and get Lance to look for the fact to go to meet and eats this thing alive. When you re-index in there, I'll just tell you how it goes until it comes up. You'll right-click, you'll click on it, right-click, say re-index. It will pop out a re-index screen similar to your search screen. You only need to fill in the pieces of information that need to change. So if all you're changing is the document description, that's the only thing you have to type in. If all you're changing is the year, that's all you have to change on the index. If you're needing to change the client, you want to re-index it to a different client or tell it to go to the different client, you don't have to fill in the rest of the stuff. It's going to save that. Now, for client-to-client movement, if you re-index, you move the document. It leaves the old client, goes to the new. If you want to copy it to another client, you click on the box, right-click, and there's a copy function. It'll pop up the dialog box so that you can tell it where to go. That one you are going to have to fill out where to go because it needs to know specifically where you want to store it. is not going to assume that it's the exact same thing except for the client. Now, if you need to move a file between drawers, that is a different function. That one, just go ahead and email Michelle. Really, the only time you're going to hit that is when in the template type function where somebody's messed up the template that's in the library, and so you want to copy the correct one back to the library. It's rarely going to happen, so I'm not going to go into that. And since GoFileRoom has decided it doesn't like me anymore, actually I need to get. Let's just close GoFileRoom.
How do you know when I've done a note in FirmFlow? If I've written a note to the reviewer, how do you, is there anything?
We haven't been using that function for reviewing of tax returns because we were doing the notes within the return itself, simply because we weren't sure if we would get consistent use of that, and within the tax return it pops up. Within GoFileRoom it doesn't pop up and scream at you.
So all those notes are written.
In GoFileRoom.
Now, the GoFileRoom piece,
The only person that sees is Michelle.
yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Now, oh, I know. Go ahead and grab him,
Okay.
and I'll be out within a minute or two. We may not. I may be. Now, the main thing we were using GoFileRoom for the notes was for Michelle under the delivery piece, so that she would know, or whoever was handling the tax return, to call the client, to whether it was going to be picked up, all these different things, return it back to the. They could go there, and that's one place they could do it, but it wasn't the primary spot. We're going to nail that down as part of our tax procedures. The one other place you can look, if you want to look at something that looks like file cabinet.
Because the notes in the tax return, they will
Yeah,
load
can you
them
show
up,
Mary-
pain in the ass.
Can you show Mary Lou where to put the notes for the tax returns when I do the processing?
Yes. We'll pop over there.
Right, because some notes,
Because I don't ever look at the notes.
right, well, the notes, we used to write on that sheet where it was like
What, the
Don't-
routing sheet?
on the routing sheet, because that's where, like, the address, especially for some trust and stuff, that it would be, don't mail to this client, we're mailing to this address.
Right.
So
But you put
some
that all
notes,
under the deliverable now.
right, and I would always do that so you would see it, like, we're not mailing here,
Right.
and I would write certain things, and those don't go in the tax return, they would actually go on the routing sheet, so it would go to the deliverable section, and it was going specifically to Michelle. You know,
Yeah.
that's not a tax return note, that's a routing sheet note or a
Right.
deliverable note.
Right.
But if you go to, let me pop into here because I came off of, if you look under the workflows and you pull up a workflow, there is a tab that is the delivery tab,
Yes,
delivery instructions.
yes, and that's where I would write.
And you simply go here and add a new note. And under here, under delivery method, I mean, you guys don't see this a whole lot. It's usually the reviewer that hits it. We've got client pickup, courier, fax, email, FedEx. And you may know better than the partner. At that time, you can go ahead and fill that out for the partner. And the destination. There is a, why are we missing something?
But there really wasn't, sometimes it would have to go in the notes section.
No, there was a one. Oh, you know why? I bet you I'm not in a, I'm in
Yeah,
a,
you're an accountant.
I'm in an accounting. I'm not in a tax. Tax. Under this, you'll see that there are a hand delivery and a deliver to. If you know that it's going to go back to the partner, you can click in here, deliver to, and actually we have both preparer and partner. Preparer means Michelle's going to take it back to the person who is listed as the staff member on there, not the preparer of the return. Partner means whoever's signing. Then we have address on file, address on return, see delivery notes. So that if she sees this see delivery notes, she knows to look down below.
Yeah, but it's going to show up anyway.
Well, yeah, it's going to be there, but she's looking top to bottom, so she knows it's there. And then front desk call client. We're working.
If you do that, it's good if you put the phone number in there.
It is until such a time we're that's one of the big projects coming in for when we get a new person up front, is to get all the phone numbers, proper addresses, all this stuff into practice where it's supposed to be in one centralized spot, because that is a client relationship management piece of software. We use it for billing, and that's it. And everybody wants a good client relationship management piece for the firm. Well, 38 to 40 some outlooks is not the best client relationship manager. Having it in one spot is. So that's where we're going to end up. But if you know there's a special number that's not in practice, because maybe they're, somebody different, call front desk. Put the information in there if you think it's not in practice. I know, I went a long way around the horn for that one. All right, any last questions? Because I know we're running a little bit longer than I even intended.
Do we have access to adding stuff there, or do we have to actually get them to do it?
No, we have to, Andrew can add it.
It would be nice to have a new one added, like if you want me to scan the 8879s.
Well, we're not going to add that, because that's going to change so vastly for the 2014 year. IRS has authorized electronic signature of 8879s. UltraTax is going to build in the function of being able to deliver 8879s electronically to the client for them to sign, and it's going to be a legal signature, and it's going to be returned to us in some way, shape, or form. I have to find that out when they start releasing that information. It is my understanding of someone who works with UltraTax a lot, they have tested it, and he is not one that blows smoke up CS's butt. As a matter of fact, he'll tell you when it doesn't work. He said this is probably their best first release they've ever done. He said it actually is very nice, very slick, and works well. And he said that's very unusual for Thomson Reuters to be able to put that out in the first try. He said usually it's third or fourth try before they get going.
It's great for our clients that have email. I mean, we do have clients that don't do email.
Well, those clients, of course, we're not going to be able to do an electronic piece.
Right.
But those will be the exception to the rule. We're going to have a big drive on getting the email addresses in here, the proper ones, and delivering these, because if we ever got looked at, we would have our butts handed to us, because I can guarantee you we can find at least 15% of these returns we do not have an 8879 for.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, and so this gives us tracking and everything else. We're also, the person that we're trying to get up front is going to be handling a ton of client stuff. They're going to be responsible for updating, and it's going to be in one spot. So that's going to be a big piece of theirs, not just answering the phones. So y'all will be updated as that moves along. Anyway, if there's anything else you want me to cover, I'll cover. If not, then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George.
All right. Again, this will be posted up to YouTube, and I will be parsing and piecing it so that there will be 1 and 2 minute videos on how to specific items. As I post them, you will receive a link.
Filling up my email box.
You know it.